Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Wise Guys. It's the last Monday of July 2026.
It's crazy to think that summer is almost over, that football it actually starts this week. Like
really
teams
does.
that have games in week 0 started today. Weber State started today.
Yeah.
BYU starts next week. Everybody starts by next week. And so it's upon us. And when we get to the end of July, you and I have a bunch of shows that we start doing in addition to our Wise Guys show. It's that time of year, folks. And it starts to get exciting when the guys start report for fall camp.
It's dang hot outside, but that's all right. It's cool in here.
It doesn't feel like football weather out there.
But we have a cool show. We hope that it cools you off. This is the largest BYU sports live stream show in the world, most watched collegiate sports live stream talk show on YouTube. And when we say the world, Ken from the colonies in Mexico is on the stream right out of the gate. And there's Fort Walton Beach with us from the south and the mountains of California. So we are coast to coast right out of the gate. We love that.
And we're also like right here in South Jordan, and we're all over the state of Utah. We're all over the country, and we're all over the world. We want to remind you that Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus and by Mountain America Credit Union, and Wise Guys is distributed by the Deseret News. Watch for this week's new podcast tomorrow, wherever you get your podcasts.
The Nelsons are on the stream from St. George. Nice and cool down there. The Nelsons are going to be on the show as a Superfan as we roll on here. There's a Navajo Nation checking in.
There you go. Hey, and Jesse says, hey, I'm listening while I'm running around the Salt Lake Valley doing my second job. And he gave us the Shaka, hang loose sign, which I like. That's a nice emoji. Shaka, hang loose, brother.
We'll do it. Hey, please subscribe to our free email at wiseguys.com. You can also watch all our past content there. There's some great stuff. We'd love you to hit the free subscribe button on our YouTube channel. That'll help us build the show. And speaking of the show, we've had a bunch lately where we've thought, hey, this is our best show ever. Here's another one tonight, which is going to be a lot of fun. We want a lot of your interaction on the stream. But BYU Radio analyst Hans Olsen's going to be with us. We always love it when Hans comes on. He tells it like it is.
Oh, like what's on Hans's mind. He's going to tell us what's on his mind and what he thinks, and he'll give you. He doesn't hold back at all. We're
going to ask him this question, which we think will be interesting because he played defensive line in college. Remember when he went to the Colts, they moved him to the offensive line. So what's harder? And what's the big difference? A big defensive lineman or a big offensive lineman? Because he's been both.
Yeah, he understands. And it's hard to be both because defensive linemen have a little different mentality than offensive linemen. Defensive linemen are just a little bit crazy. And offensive linemen are usually like really smart, calculated. Like they still want to tear your head off, but they have to be under so much more control to execute.
So that's a quarterback's perspective.
Yeah.
Now let's see what Hans has to say.
I want to see what Hans has to say, if he agrees with that or not. That's my perspective from being right in there with him.
He's coming up in just a few minutes tonight. It's going to be awesome.
So yeah, I love having Hans on, and we're excited to have him here. Grading the quarterbacks. There's been some projections that could add extra motivation for Bear Bachmeier. I think he's been underrated all preseason in every publication that's come out. We'll talk about that a little bit.
It's time for live sports. Soccer's blue and white game is this weekend. Jen Rockwood was scheduled to be with us here tonight. We've had to move that for some things that she has going on, so we'll move it to next week as they get ready for their first exhibition game. But the blue-white game is Saturday, and we'll talk about that. That's the first sport out of the gate that welcomes the new year back.
And it's nice to start with a program that's always in the national spotlight and starts every season with the idea that they can win a national championship, which I love. And Jen doesn't pull back from that at all. She's like, yeah, that's what we go out to do. We go out to win Big 12 championships and national championships. Let's go.
That's how they roll.
So we're our Relight Athlete of the Week. We'll have.
Oh, this is a good one.
This is a good one.
This is another one where you go, yeah, okay.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Still? That, you might say still? And the answer is yes, still. So that's coming up. And our Hotel Park City Ruth's Chris Superfan will be in with us. We have loved introducing this segment, and we encourage you, if you want to be on the show as a BYU Superfan, you go to wiseguys.com, fill out the form, explain why you are a Superfan, send it to us. We'll get with you, and we'll book you on the show. And we've booked a lot already, and we've got a lot still to book, and we love, we'll take all we can get. You notice we've had a couple super fans on each show. We're going to kind of continue to do that through the fall, because it's one thing to have the biggest and brightest names in BYU sports on the show, which we do. And then it's also great to turn around to Cougar Nation, whose this show is for, and say, well, what do you think? What did you think about that Notre Dame game? And then have you as the expert.
Yeah, they represent all of you here. And so it'll be fun. Whenever you say Hotel City Ruth's Chris, though, like I just got hungry when you said it because I want a Ruth's Chris steak.
Yeah, I know.
Although then I see, Michael Zimmerman in from Beaumont, Texas. And when I think of Beaumont, Texas, I just think of barbecue.
Yeah.
So now you've got me hungry. We're just starting the show, and I'm hungry for either a steak at Ruth's Chris or for some good old-fashioned Texas barbecue. Where should I get the Texas barbecue? Do I go to Buc-ee's for that, or where do I go?
Maybe you do. I remember on my mission, we some members would take us to Fuddruckers.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't even know if we could say that. Right? I was like, what? We're going to eat where? Is that all right?
Good fries, though.
Good hamburgers and fries. And then they put one of those in the Orleans where we ate at for years during the
But nobody, I ate Fuddruckers every post game, like at 11:30 at night after we got done. It
altered our life.
So no better steak than Ruth's Chris, though. So
Wise Guys is presented by our title sponsors, Brady Plus. Brady Plus provides cleaning, food service, packaging equipment, dispensers, and service for businesses coast to coast, including BYU, the Pentagon, Disney World, and all places in between. 150 distribution facilities across the country. They're huge. Over 13,000 employees. At the head of it all is BYU grad Travis Brady. Learn more at bradyplus.com.
And by Mountain America Credit Union, helping people achieve their financial dreams for over 80 years. Whether you're buying a home, planning for retirement, managing daily expenses, Mountain America has tools, technology, and the guidance to help you succeed. There's a lot of information waiting for you out there at macu.com.
Ruth's on the stream from Alaska.
Nice.
All right. Nice and cool up there. Thanks, Ruth, for being with us. By the way, next week, we're going to introduce a new member of the Wise Guys family as a title sponsor.
Yes.
You see Brady Plus, you see Mountain America, you're going to see somebody else next week.
That's right. That's
going to be awesome.
Fun stuff.
Our Relight Athlete of the Week is presented by Redmond. The secret's in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. Might just change your life. Certainly enhance your health. Redmond.com.
And we're going to introduce you to the Hotel Park City Ruth's Chris Superfan. We appreciate Hotel Park City and Ruth's Chris for sponsoring that great segment that we'll introduce to you in a little bit.
I know the restaurant's up in Park City, but do you ever think they'll just drop off some steaks here during the show?
Oh man, that would be so good.
They could just send it in a car.
I don't know how they could keep them warm.
Though. I don't know, but if anyone could, it seems like they could figure that out.
They probably could.
That would be good. Let's talk BYU football. That's what everyone's talking about on the stream. And the date is here. The players report a week from tomorrow, August 4th. First practice out on the field, August 5th. And that's, they've been doing individual drills and all that stuff. These are the whole group out there. And you know what they're thinking? They're thinking about Utah Tech.
That's right. Like just look right forward. Actually, they're first figuring about how am I going to survive fall camp?
It's hot out here. They might think that too.
I hate to say, hey, in the olden days, but anybody that played more than 20 years ago, they don't do 2-a-day practices anymore. They're very much more aware of keeping them fresh and trying to keep them healthy. They limit how much contact they have. The college game now is very much run like an NFL camp, where keeping players healthy and keeping them fresh is priority one while they learn everything they need to learn to be prepared for a first game. So they don't grind them to a pulp like they did in the old days, which I think
survival of the fittest.
It is a great change. So,
well, if you get banged up during camp, what good are you? In September.
Doesn't help you when you go to play. Hey, Michael Zimmerman responded and said, hey, Blaine, there are several Michelin-rated barbecues in Texas.
Okay.
Is that true?
Well, there must be.
Is there Michelin star-rated barbecue places? Because my experience is the best barbecue places in all of Texas are in gas stations.
Yeah, well, there's some good ones there. That's for sure. Carson says 40 days until Utah Tech. That's not very long.
We should have a little tote board in here.
Yeah, we really should.
So that'd be so fun.
Our colleagues over there on Sports Nation like to sing. We don't do that. They like to sing how many days are left on their countdown. We'll just go straight.
And here's the problem: like when Jeremy Spencer sing it, it's always just slightly out of tune.
Yeah.
And if you and I did it,
it'd be right on.
The harmonies would be so tight.
You'd think it's pre-recorded, then we'd lose our spontaneity.
It would be embarrassing. It would be so good. And so we just can't do it.
So Pro Football Focus came out with their Big 12 quarterback grades. Mm-hmm. And we found that interesting for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, where Bear sits on that list. And I think Bear won 12 games as a freshman, and he ran for over 500 yards. He threw for over 3,000, a bunch of touchdowns. So where would Bear be on the list of returning Big 12 quarterbacks? Some on this list weren't even in the Big 12 last year,
right?
But they've come from their other schools, and so Pro Football Focus goes, all right, here's the best 7.
Yeah, this is interesting to me. And I mentioned as we were teasing what we had in the show that Bear's been underrated in every single preseason, thing that I've read on quarterbacks. So number 1 rated is Jaden Craig, TCU's new guy.
It's like who?
91.3% rating coming into the season.
All right.
So that's their new guy. Number 2 is Drew Mestemaker, Oklahoma State's new quarterback.
So a guy brand new in.
88.3%.
Okay.
Then we've got a guy we're familiar with, and a guy that we've been talking about quite a bit, who I honestly think is probably the scariest quarterback coming back in the league. BYU has to play him in week 2. That's Noah Fafita from Arizona. So there's a name that you know. That's a returning guy, returning starter, or returning 3-year starter, right?
So they got him at 85.1. That's how they grade him out.
He's 3rd in the league.
Number 4, they have Devin Dampier from Utah at 83.1.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't think I'd put him ahead of Bear, but they got him at number 4.
I think he's one of the most dangerous runners in college football at quarterback. But you
got to throw it.
Yeah, and that's interesting. That another brand new quarterback at 5, not brand new, but brand new to the program, right?
Right.
Liam O'Brien, Cincinnati's quarterback, 82.5. This is how the transfer world goes, though. You have a bunch of new guys that they come from other places, and then finally at number 6, you have Bear Bachmeier at a 78.9 rating.
Yeah, number 6 for Bear. And BYU is going to be projected as a team to contend for the Big 12 title. But your quarterback is at number 6. It's not because he's short and slow and not powerful. It's not because he doesn't have an arm. It's not that he's not surrounded by the best running back in the Big 12 and a giant offensive line. I just can't figure out why they decide that he's number 6.
And think about this. And those that have been watching BYU for a long time will join in with me in saying that Jim McMahon, when he was with the Chicago Bears, was one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. Yeah. Unbelievably productive. But he just never got the credit that was due, because lined up behind Jim McMahon was, at the time, the greatest running back in the history of pro football, in Walter Payton. Yep. So Jim handed the ball off. Walter Payton was a player of the year and all this.
And they had the number 1 defense.
And so he kind of... So now I think Bear is a little bit of a victim of the fact that you had the offensive player of the year, who's returning now and is the preseason offensive player in the year, lined up behind you at running back, and LJ Martin. You have a defense that's been, over the last 2 years, the number 1 defense over the last 2 years combined. Number 1 2 years ago, number 2 last year. But if you combine the years, the number 1 defense in the league the last 2 years. I think maybe he's being overshadowed and not given enough credit for how good he was last year, because those pieces around him make people go, well, maybe just the beneficiary of leading a team that's really good at important positions. That's the only thing I can think of. And then you have Will Hammond at number 7, right behind Bear.
Texas Tech's quarterback.
Who got injured, had limited play last year, right behind him at a 78.8.
So of the top 7, according to Pro Football Focus, top 7 Big 12 quarterbacks, only Bear won 12 games,
right,
including wins against Fafita and Dampier. Hammond was hurt when BYU played Texas Tech. Mestemaker and O'Brien didn't play in the Big 12 last year. So that's the list, and that's where Bear sits. So how motivating is that for Bachmeier? He's pretty level-headed. He might not even care, but we care about this kind of stuff. Is that motivating for him to go out and go, I'm the best quarterback in this league. I'm going to go show it.
I think in the back of his mind he goes, interesting. You know how Bear is.
Yeah.
Just doesn't get that ruffled. His attitude will be, I just got to go play. Like, we'll prove him wrong. Like, very matter-of-factly, we'll prove him wrong. I know I'm as good as any of these guys. He plays with confidence, but he just doesn't get too worried about that stuff. So I think he's probably going to look at it.
His teammates, however, might
put it in his hip pocket and go, yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah. I would think his linemen, receiving core, and LJ are like going, wait, what?
That receiving core, especially that tight end group, really, really talented tight end group, I think they need to take it personally. They need to go, no, we got the best quarterback in the league. Let's go out and help him show everybody that.
Yeah.
So that's what you do.
Just keep winning, and take care of the football, which is what he does. The Athletic listed the top senior linebackers in the country. Now, I believe this will be the first time since the planet was formed, that's a long time, that BYU has had 2 senior linebackers listed in the top 8 in the country going into a season.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, they've had good linebackers, but 2 in the top 8 as far as seniors, I don't think we've ever seen that.
It's never happened. And you have Cade Uluave at number 3, the Cal transfer that has just really turned heads in spring ball. And then Isaiah Glasker, the returning starter, and just a freakish athlete at number 8. So 2 in the top 8. I would say, and I go all the way back to my junior season, if you look at what they did that season, the next season, and then in the NFL, Kurt Govea and Leon White should have been in the top 8 in the country going into their senior season.
But they never got that kind of respect.
They didn't get that kind of respect.
Yeah.
BYU, we weren't, even though we'd won a national championship, I don't know that we were as in the national spotlight or recognized like these guys are.
We're on TV as much.
Yeah, and then you can look at that team where our colleague Dave Nixon and Brian Keel were there together, two guys that were clearly really, really good. Now, they didn't have the NFL run that, like, I think Kurt played like 15 years in the NFL, and Leon, and they both started.
And they played on the mountain, so no one saw them.
They probably combined 25 seasons as starters in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then, Kyle and Fred weren't there at the same time, but those guys were clearly. Kyle Van Noy was a top 10 backer, and clearly, and probably wasn't recognized preseason as one. And Fred Warner's the best linebacker in football, period, right now. He was never recognized in the top 10 going into his senior season. So this is new ground. Not only does BYU have the talent, they're being recognized for the talent, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's fun to see. It's fun to see the Y logo and all these kinds of things. On the stream, hello to Orem, Utah, Covina, California, and Tucson, Arizona. I'm sure it's plenty hot there, Neil, in Tucson. Thanks for being with us tonight. Let's talk running backs for a moment. PFF College ranks the top runners in the Big 12. This is the time of year when everyone's coming out going, look for this, look for that. And here again on this list, you've got the last year's Offensive Player of the Year, L.J. Martin, back, ready to roll as a senior, and he's not 1 and he's not 2.
Yet, when the media and the coaches voted, he was the preseason Offensive Player of the Year. But PFF, based on their scoring, has Caleb Hawkins, Oklahoma State's running back, at 92.6, number 1. Jacoby Williams from Texas Tech at 88.4. And number 3, L.J. Martin at 86.3.
Yeah, there again, Oklahoma State's been so bad. I think everyone just expects them. They made their coaching change, and half the team moved in from North Texas, so they're just all of a sudden going to be great. And these guys, I don't know, we're not saying these guys aren't going to be studs for sure. Every team's got a stud runner.
Right.
But L.J. Martin at number 3 after leading the league in rushing last year is a little bit of a surprise. Yeah, maybe that motivates him.
This league, I've noticed this the last couple of years, this league is loaded with good running backs. Yeah. Every year there are. I watch BYU and I think about their defense. And I'm thinking, man, they got to defend this guy this week, and then that guy next week, and it is a league chock full of great running backs.
Nampa, Idaho on the stream. Hey, Roger. Let's have some fun here for a moment. College Football Zone at College FBONX on Twitter if you want more of their stuff. It's pretty interesting in what they do. And there are a lot of sites. You got to have like 50,000 or more to put out an opinion that we'll get on our show unless we tweeted it out. And then you can get on our show all the time. But and so these guys went through every game and put a percentage on whether or not BYU will win this or not. And we're going to roll through them and let us know what you think on the stream because it's kind of cool here. But they've got BYU favored in 11 of the 12 games. You can probably guess which one they're not favored in, which we think they have a chance at. But 11 of the 12 games have been favored. I'm not sure how many seasons we've had this discussion where an outlet comes in and goes, they should be 11-1.
You and I have never had this. I bet, I'm thinking in 85, we probably were picked to win 11 of 12.
Having gone undefeated and win the national title.
We'd won 24 in a row at that point, right? Outside of that year, and a returning starting quarterback in Bosco, like even after 96, with Sarkisian going, they probably didn't predict BYU to
No way.
Yeah. So yeah, this is, and we've certainly, you and I have in our 30 years have never talked about this.
And they're in the Big 12 with this number.
Right. Way better competition. So let's go through it. They start out with Utah Tech. They have a 99% chance of winning.
That feels like that feels like pretty good.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
That should be like a 56 to 14.
And Arizona, the team that I keep telling everybody I'm a little bit nervous about, but it is at home. I just don't like how early in the season it is. 74% chance.
Yeah,
of winning.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's dang good.
They go over to Colorado State for their first road game on CBS, their first primetime CBS game ever. And they've got a 95% chance to go over and beat the Rams.
Isn't it interesting? Colorado State and BYU used to be in the same league. They'd compete for league championships when Sonny Lubick was over there as the coach. How different is it now with BYU in the Big 12 and Colorado State still back in the Mountain West?
It's like the big boys are coming over.
Yep. They just don't match up anymore. At TCU, BYU.
This is a scary one.
65% chance.
That's significant because BYU hasn't won in Fort Worth in a long time.
Yeah.
And TCU's good. They're full of Texas football players. Last time BYU was down there, remember, Keaton Slovis was the quarterback, and they knocked him around.
Yeah.
I think this road game is the toughest road game of the season.
It's a tough place to play, and they always have great athletes.
But they've got BYU at 65%. Then they come home on a Friday night, play Iowa State. Iowa State's got a new coach and a new team. They're coming into Provo, and BYU's an 89% favorite.
Yeah, this is like if Iowa State had kept their coach from going to Penn State and all their players, Iowa State would be one of the favorites to win the league again. This would be a Big Ten game. But how the offseason changed Iowa State's outlook. 89% for BYU.
Jim's on the stream just in time for the Notre Dame game. Jim's in from North Carolina. Good to have you with us from the East Coast.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the big one.
Yeah, this is the one that they predict BYU will lose, and that's Notre Dame at home. They give BYU just a 24% chance of beating Notre Dame, who very well could be number one in the country coming into that game.
You know, blue goggled. Miami was a big favorite coming in when they were number one. 24% chance for BYU. I anticipate Notre Dame being favored in that game. I don't know by that much. Maybe closer to 60%, 60-40. I mean, BYU's tough at home. They beat some really good teams at home. If both teams are healthy coming into that, it'll be the game of all games. But College Football Zone has the Irish coming in and beating the Cougars on national TV right here in Provo.
And if College Football Zone is accurate and BYU is 5-0 coming into that game, this could be one of the big games in college football.
Yeah, game day would have to be here.
Then they got BYU at home the next week against Central Florida, 68% chance.
That one's an interesting one.
Arizona State surprises me. Like, you think, I don't know.
I've got, you know what? I left an at off because we go to Orlando.
Right.
To play UCF.
Yeah, at Orlando. But Arizona State is at home, right?
Halloween night.
BYU 79%. Wow. That one is the one that stands out to me. I think the Notre Dame game at 24% is too low, and I think that Arizona State game, I was thinking, like 65%, but 79% win chance against ASU.
They've got it. Well, ASU's quarterback's at LSU now. Maybe that's that. At Utah, this is Salt Lake City. They've got BYU with a 59% chance to win that.
So that's their lowest win chance.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's the lowest percentage chance to win, period. But the lowest of all of the 11 that they predict to win is this Utah game at Utah, 59%. That seems fair.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tight, tough, physical game. We expect BYU to win, whether it's by a field goal or a touchdown, or they've found creative ways to get that done. I watched the highlights of last year's game the other day, and it was closer. The score was closer than the game was. I mean, Utah had the lead in the fourth quarter.
Which is remarkable considering that, but that's how that game goes.
Yeah. And then Bear was on the loose.
Yeah, he just started dragging people.
And Utah shouldn't have got that last minute touchdown.
He started dragging fools all over the place.
I think we're in the zone prevent defense or whatever, and the Utes went down.
Well, and Kalani was playing a bunch of guys.
So 59% BYU a chance to win in Salt Lake, and then they come home for Baylor, which is picked to be at the bottom of the league.
Which is actually, Baylor was really good just a couple of years ago. Baylor's really fallen off. BYU 76% chance. And then they go to Kansas. and a 72% chance versus
That's pretty
Kansas.
high on the road at Kansas.
Yeah.
BYU's never won at Kansas. They've had a lot of bad luck against Kansas.
Yeah, a lot of turnovers against Kansas.
Yeah.
So.
And then the regular season finale against Cincinnati, Thanksgiving weekend back here in Provo, BYU with an 82% chance of winning there. So they've got the Cougars at 11-1, which sends them to the Big 12 championship game. And then who knows from there. But if you're 11-1 and your only loss is to number 1 Notre Dame, you should be in consideration for an at-large playoff spot, and you should be ranked somewhere near 8, 9.
Yeah, and you're a shoe-in for the Big 12 championship because you will have gone undefeated at that point in the league. And keep in mind, they don't play Houston or Texas Tech in the regular season, who are supposed to be really, really good. So we want to remind you that after further review,
Here we go.
We start when the boys start. When they report to camp, we report to AFR 1 week from tomorrow. So join us on Tuesday, August 4th, 5 o'clock Mountain Time for the touchdown show. All the touchdowns from last season.
Everyone.
You watch it on BYU TV app, ESPN Plus, or at BYUTV.org. That's 1 week from tomorrow. And you know, if you're not available at 5 Mountain,
You watch it anytime.
you can watch it anytime from 5 o'clock on.
Yeah.
Right. So any time during the week. So, and by the way, our AFR teammate and colleague, he's going to be on the show next week on the Wise Guys, and we're going to start previewing what's going on.
David Nixon, we always enjoy having him on the show. Howard is on the stream from Anchorage, Alaska, and we've got Santaquin in the house as well. Good to have you guys with us. Let us know where you're taking us in from. We'll try and give you shouts out as best we can as we move through it. And by the way, movie night, if you're in the area, remember the Titans will be on the big screen at Lavelle Edwards Stadium Saturday night at 8 o'clock. So you can just drive in, you go, you know what, I'm just going to go lay at the 10-yard line and watch this movie.
So bring a blanket and a pillow and have a good time. Remember the Titans, by the way, is unanimously the number 1 movie of all of the guests in the history of this show.
Yeah.
Like it has outvoted everyone by far. So I don't know. What do you think? The number 2 is so far behind. Remember the Titans. What do you think number 2 is?
I don't know.
There's a lot of Hoosiers. We have a lot of Hoosiers.
We heard a lot of the Michael Jordan series.
Yeah, Michael Jordan.
But Titans.
Seems like it's the one that people pick the most, don't you think?
It's such a good movie.
Some people have said we had a lot of Rudies. A lot of people voted for Rudy.
Yeah, maybe Rudy's second.
Yeah, I think Rudy's probably number 2.
So we went over last year, the year before, and watched Remember the Titans on the big screen, and it was cool, and it was cooler because it's 8 o'clock at night. So Saturday night, that's this Saturday. Remember the Titans at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. It's free. You can just go in and bring a blanket. You can't bring chairs, like patio furniture that dig into the turf. With Scott Kavanaugh, last thing we need is get a phone call from Scott. So we got to take care of the turf.
Well, and we should get a phone call from Scott saying, "Hey, thanks for taking care of the turf, guys."
Yeah,
by letting people understand that.
That's right. Big Ten Media Day starts tomorrow. That's the last of the P4s, and all the talking will be over. And by the way, a lot of folks don't quite realize this. Troy from Pensacola, Florida, is on the stream. Thanks, Troy. Good to have you here. Yes, we'll have a little baseball a bit later in the show. The last 3 national champions are not from the SEC.
Right.
They're not from the ACC. They're not from the Big 12. They're from the Big 10. Indiana, Ohio State, and Michigan. Those are the last 3. Yeah. So the last time you've been able to hear the SEC, beating their chest, it's been a while because the Big 10 has owned that game.
I have a question for our folks out there, and that's this. Now that Kyle Whittingham's at Michigan and Jay Hill, who everybody's loved his time at BYU, is the defensive coordinator there, and Jason Beck, former BYU quarterback, is the offensive coordinator there, are you a Michigan fan? Can you cheer for Kyle Whittingham as the Michigan coach now that he's – so you literally have Jay Hill. He did play at Utah, but he's a BYU coach. Then you have a head coach in Kyle Whittingham that was BYU's starting middle linebacker and captain. And you got an offensive coordinator that was BYU's backup quarterback and a BYU guy through and through. Do you root for Michigan now? Can you root for a Kyle Whittingham coach team after all of these years up at Utah, now that he's removed from the rival? Or can you not? I'm interested to know what our people think on the chat about that. I'm going to root for Michigan this year. How about you?
I'm still processing it, but I got nothing against the Whittinghams. Kerry Whittingham's a good friend of my brother's. They love BYU. Some have had to camouflage it a little bit over the last few years. They played at BYU. They're part of BYU. I can certainly, like Kalani said the other day, Kyle looks better in blue. He's quite honest with it. And when they do that M thing like this,
it looks like
the opposite.
It's upside down U.
And you know what? We're okay with that.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be fun to play Michigan and get after them that way. But I don't have a problem with that.
John Franklin says no, can't do it. Just flat out no.
We understand, John.
And Michael Zimmerman says only if they're not playing BYU, which is fair. Like I'm not going to root for them against BYU, but I'm just saying when they're playing somebody else, can you root for them? And then to your point, Dave, Andrew, I don't know if that's how you say it. 8199 says, "Yep," especially when he makes that M that defeats looks like an upside down. So people are going to root for Kyle at Michigan. They can do that. They can wrap their heads around that.
Gene Chittister was on the show last week as a BYU super fan. He's saying no. He's just not going to be able to do it.
No, he's saying no.
We understand that too. We'll ask Hans that too here in just a second. By the way, NFL, all the teams are in camp after tomorrow. All 32 of them. The Hall of Fame games, the Cardinals and the Panthers a week from Thursday on NBC. Keaton Slovis will be playing quarterback for the Cardinals. Tyler Algier, I'm not sure how much he'll play in that game, but they have fewer preseason games now.
Right.
So, you know what? Get out on the field. So we could see a bunch of guys in that game, at least for a few minutes. Brady Christensen back with the Panthers.
Yeah, back with the Panthers. So there you go. You could see Keaton probably play, Tyler maybe, and Brady maybe.
8 Sportland says, "I will cheer for Michigan only against Ohio State." All right.
People, I know it's hard to wrap your head around. People remember Kyle was a BYU guy. I know he spent a lot of time at the U, but now that he's at Michigan, maybe we can forgive him and reclaim him as a BYU guy.
I'm pretty sure I know what Hans is going to say. Our first guest is gearing up for another season as the BYU football radio analyst with Greg Wrubell. He played for the Cougars back in the day, but only after Lavelle Edwards visited his home in Weiser, Idaho, and talked him out of playing for Tom Osborne at Nebraska. It's our pleasure to welcome back our friend Hans Olsen to the Wise Guys. Hans, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing so much better now that I'm on air with my boys.
Yes.
Listen, just imagine, we're going to have a question for you, but just imagine where you might be today if you'd gone to Nebraska to play football.
Well, the only thing that matters about that, in my opinion, is I wouldn't be the husband of Amanda Olsen. And if I'm not the husband of Amanda Olsen, then I am a worthless pile of trash. So nothing else would even matter. I wouldn't have her, so I'd have nothing. So the greatest thing to come out of BYU was the amazing, beautiful, talented, lovely, kind, sweet Amanda Olsen. So outside of that, boys, great relationships and time at BYU. Nothing could make up for the time I had at BYU.
You committed to Tom Osborne. Like you told Tom you were going to Nebraska. What did Lavelle possibly say to you to change your mind on that?
Okay. Is this so? You really want to talk about this for a minute?
Yeah,
yes, we do.
Yeah, we want to hear this.
Yes, we do.
All right. We'll talk about what makes BYU. So Tom Osborne flew in a private jet into Weiser, Idaho during onion season. And he actually got to my house at 7:00 in the morning because I had wrestling practice. So he got to my house 7:00 in the morning, and it was a big deal for Weiser. They were just coming off their back-to-back national championships. And so we had neighbors dropping off loaves of bread at 7:00 in the morning, and it felt a little bit like Mayberry. You know, it was really fun. And I had a buddy that slept over. You'll love this, Blaine. So my buddy Chris Ward slept over because he wanted to meet Tom. And he comes out of the back room in just his boxers. My mom's mortified. Just his boxers, scratching his belly.
No.
And extends the hand that he's scratching his belly with to shake Tom Osborne's hand.
How about that?
Tom goes, "Nice to meet you, young man." I'm like, "Chris, you're a moron. Go put your pants on, dude." So he's there. I obviously I commit to him. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm coming." Okay. BYU's late. BYU hadn't called. BYU hadn't sent a letter. Nothing. And BYU was really out of the picture. I mean, for me, it was Oregon, Washington, Washington State, or Nebraska, but BYU wasn't in the picture. Okay, fast forward. Lavelle Edwards finds out about me, flies to Weiser, comes into the house. He's in the house for 5 minutes, and you just feel the spirit. I mean, I'm not going to try to beat around the bush. You just feel the spirit. He brings the spirit with him. And I was a roughneck kid. I had already taken my recruiting trip to Nebraska. I was up to no good, bad. And I knew I needed the spirit, and he brought the spirit. 2 weeks before signing date, I changed my mind. It was a kick in the backside from God. I had made the decision I wouldn't be serving a mission, and I'd be going right into football. And God was like, okay, no mission, but we are going to convert you. And so I was very strongly prompted to go to Brigham Young University. And boys, as you know, the greatest decision of my life.
Yeah.
It changed everything. Everything. I'm not saying it was all roses and sunshine. I'm not saying that following honor code and having people breathing down your neck in a weird and strange code that in the day was not, I thought was managed very poorly. I think they're doing a lot better with it now. It wasn't all rainbows and sunshine, but my goodness, did it give me the direction I needed. And my goodness, do I love this university, and do I love being in the booth and calling the games for this university. What a blessing.
Here's a full circle moment here, Hans. Speaking of onion days, mean Uncle Dave, a truck driver's on the stream, checking in from Barstow, California, where they're sleeping tonight, hauling onions. That's what he's hauling on his rig.
He's hauling onions
and he's
around.
on the stream. Good to have you on the stream with Hans Olsen. So now we've had an onion connection here.
I love it, man. I used to follow the onion trucks because some of those big yellow onions, those big old gigantic onions that fall off the top of the truck, and you'd scoop those suckers up, saute them. You could eat an onion like an apple out of Idaho.
Oh yeah. I want to ask you a question because the stream's kind of going. We right before you came on, I don't know if you heard, we were asking people if they could root for Michigan now with Kyle as the head coach, since he's now not a Utah guy anymore, and he was a BYU player, and you got Jason Beck as the offensive coordinator, who's a BYU guy. You got Jay Hill, who played at Utah, but he's BYU's coach the last 3 years of the defense, who did great things. So we asked people if they would root for Michigan this year. It's really interesting. It's mixed. Some like absolutely not, can never root for Kyle Whittingham. Others are saying if they play Utah, I'll root for them, of course, or an SEC team. Others are going, absolutely, I'm going to root for them. There's enough BYU ties. Like, what's your take on Michigan? Are you a Michigan fan now with Jay and Kyle and Jason Beck there now, or what's your thought?
Yeah, I'm not afraid to admit it. No, I'm not afraid to admit it. And I think everybody that knows me knows that I'm really close with Jay Hill, have been for years. I consider Jay a brother, and I just love him, and played with Gennaro Guilford for 3 years. And, I look at Gennaro Guilford like a brother, blood, sweat, and tears with him. And he's BYU through and through. And he wanted a different life, and he wanted a different look and a different opportunity. So he took it and went. And, to him, I just say, hey, fare thee well, man. I just hope that he has amazing success. I'm a big fan of Jim Harding. Jim Harding's a great offensive line coach, and he recruited my son really hard. They offered him a scholarship. I don't know. I think they were the 4th or 5th offer. And Jim called me and said, hey, we love your son. So I've loved Jim and his style for years. And I think he's put 9 or 10 offensive linemen in the NFL. So he's fantastic. He's been great to me and my family. And so I want to see Michigan win. I was just going over this scenario with Russ Olsen, who is the president and CEO of Stein Eriksen Lodge up there in Park City, and one of my dear friends. And I was kind of joking back and forth, and I said, this is the scenario, Russ. This is peak college football. This is all of my hopes and all of my dreams stuffed into one season. That would be BYU and Michigan making it to the college football playoffs. Now, you might think, oh, yeah, well, the hopes and dreams would be BYU being a top 4 seed with a bye. No. My hope is that BYU and Michigan are ranked below the top 4. BYU has a higher ranking, and Michigan has to come to LaVell Edwards Stadium.
That would be awesome.
And by the way, boys, it's not out of the realm of possibility. There's a real possible chance that could happen, because believe me, the schedule makers and the deciders, if it's a clear top 4 and BYU and Michigan aren't in it, and it's a clear top 4, you can't tell me that if Michigan and BYU were eligible for CFP, that the matchmakers wouldn't try to put that thing in LaVell Edwards Stadium. Or if Michigan was ranked higher, that they would send BYU to Michigan, but they would pair them up. Am I right?
Oh, they would, yeah.
So you're painting a scenario, Hans, where in the same season, Notre Dame and Michigan come to LaVell Edwards Stadium.
Oh my goodness!
That's my hopes and my dreams. Kalani's got Kyle Whittingham's number. You know, he gave Kyle Whittingham everything he could take, and sent Kyle Whittingham off 0-3, off to Michigan land, and it would be seeing Jay Hill and Gennaro and Jim and Kyle and all the boys. Woo! It gives me the goosebumps to even think about it. So I am openly rooting for that, but I would love to see Michigan go do great things.
I love that. I feel the same, Hans, that for sure. So you're talking about Kalani having Kyle's number. You were talking about LaVell and how he brought the spirit into your home. Let's take it back to BYU football now and talk a little bit about Kalani. What characteristics in LaVell, you and I both played for LaVell, do you see in Kalani?
Kalani has a unique ability, just like LaVell did, to make football the most important thing without making it the most important thing. And he does that with the kids, and the kids buy into it, and the kids play hard for him. I've seen a crazy change in Kalani over the 30 years I've known him. He came back from his mission. I want to say he came back from his mission in 1997. I think it was my redshirt freshman year, and then our play clocks aligned perfectly, so we were seniors together. And watching him evolve, and obviously I covered his career on air from Southern Utah to the University of Utah, out to Oregon State, and eventually getting the BYU head coaching job. And just watching him evolve as a spiritual leader. You guys remember the criticism Bronco used to get that his spirituality was fake?
Yeah.
Or that he was trying to push it too hard. Do you remember that?
Sure.
Or
Yeah.
is that,
Yeah.
It was out there. This is what I'm learning. It wasn't fake. It was real. It was real from Bronco, and it was from the heart. I think BYU has a real effect on its coaches and its players. And I think you get in there and you start to learn that to keep the important things important. Family and wives and friendships and love and trying to fulfill your obligations, but doing it in a way that brings light, brings the spirit, changes lives. And, you keep thinking you can't do it, right? Guys, like, you keep thinking, BYU can't do it that way. Like, you're going to have to get out of the spirit making business, and you're going to have to get out of the church making business, and you're going to have to get into the football business if you want to compete. And Kalani's proven all that wrong. And, at this point in my life where, my spirituality, my testimony has changed dramatically with my son making the decision to go on a mission, and we're having these deep, profound conversations on his P-Day about testimonies and church origins and going really into depth of the Book of Mormon. And now I'm running all these deep studies on Joseph Smith. And it's like my testimony has evolved and changed. And I'm just looking at Kalani thinking he's just changed for the better. And all I can hope is that I can maybe mirror some of that change. And my hope is that BYU fans and non-BYU fans can look at Kalani and say, no, this is authentic. To the bone, it's authentic. And by the way, it comes from Papa Tom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, I because I spend time on the sidelines at practices, and by the way, excited to get things going, I stand by Papa Tom a lot. And that guy just asked me about my testimony and about my son and about my family and we don't even talk about the guys on the field, and it's just it's a beautiful reminder that it's come from the top up. And I love seeing him next to his son. Every time you get a shot, it's like, who's the older guy behind Kalani that looks like Kalani? That's Kalani's dad.
Yeah.
And he's inspired a lot of us. I'm sure he's touched both of you guys as well.
Absolutely. There was a real scenario, Hans, brewing where Kalani and half his staff were going to Penn State. The three of us know a lot about that. And that would have left Jay Hill here to be the head coach in his new group. We wish Jay nothing but success where he's gone. But how fortunate is BYU to have dodged that whole bullet of losing Kalani?
I'll tell you, Dave, because there's still people that think that was a leveraging tactic, and they don't know how much truth there is to the Penn State opportunity. And I'm here to tell you, personally, I know of two coaches that had actually found houses, and they were making the move. Like
Hans, add 3 to that, because one lived in my house that was looking for houses. And so there were 3 coaches that we know for a fact were looking at houses because Kalani was one day away from going.
He was there. And I don't want to get too far into the heroism of a couple of different men that really switched things into gear and were able to save that staff and that contract in that moment. But let's just say the right people got involved and the right people stepped forward. And all along, and I've known Kalani for 30 years, and I've known him in every contract negotiation with every university, Utah, Oregon State, and everything. It's never so much about the money. It's about being wanted for Kalani. He just wants to be wanted.
Yeah.
He wants the school that he coaches to want him. And the way you show want is multi-year. And, you could even get a hometown discount on the money. It's just put the years on it. And that was the saving point. It was like, okay, name the years. What do you want? 10 years? 15? How long do you want to be here? Let's just keep you. You're our guy. And that's exactly how that negotiation should have gone, is an open date of this is how long. In the meantime, hey, if we give you all this extension and we keep you around for the rest of your life, do you think we could keep a little money in the hoppers for the assistant coaches?
Yeah.
Kalani's all about that.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants to be around for a long time. And lucky for BYU fans, they were able to get that done.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, they report this next week to camp, which is exciting. We all start to get excited when that day comes. What are the storylines you're watching in fall camp?
Okay, so just as I was jumping on, you saw me writing down on the paper. I have ranked my top 5 BYU transfers. You ready?
Yes.
Yep.
Top 5 BYU transfers, and number 1 and 2 were really, 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 really difficult because both of them are replacing high production, one on the defensive side and one on the offensive side. And as I went back and forth, I decided that Jack Kelley's production is a little bit more difficult to replace than Carson Ryan. So I'm going Cade Uluave as my number 1 transfer that'll be checking in on that BYU defense. He was the number 1 ranked linebacker out of the transfer portal. He comes to us from Cal. He was first team all ACC. He's got 130 plus tackles. He's got 6 sacks. I think he's got 3-4 interceptions. And he has got to find a way to replace 80% of Jack Kelley's production. He's got to find a way to be the quarterback killer off the edge. He's got to work contains, and he's got to fill gaps. And I'll tell you, boys, I was out there hosting the BYU Fan Fest in Huntington Beach, California, and got an opportunity to sit down with Cade and interview him. Not only is he one of the most handsome men that I've ever met in my life, he's got muscles that sit on top of muscles, and he is an exceptional human being. And he's so excited to play for Cougar Nation. So, Cade Uluave, number 1.
Okay.
Roger Saliapaga, number 2. Roger's coming to BYU out of Oregon. And when I went to spring ball, I got out to 3 spring ball practices. Nobody outshined Roger Saliapaga. He stood out more than any other player on the field, period. He is a hustler. He is looking for contact. He wants to hurt you. And he has to he's got to replace a ton of the production that you're losing from Carson Ryan, because as you guys know, Carson Ryan, in my opinion, offensively did more than anybody.
Yeah.
He was spectacular. Number 3, Paki Finau out of Washington. Paki Finau is going to come in and take over the left tackle position where Isaiah Jada is leaving. Paki Finau is undersized, but he has got Penei Sewell feet. He is so quick to the spot. He's quick to the spot. He's low hips. So as those DN would press into him, he'll sink the hips. He'll absorb the push. He'll absorb the bowl. If he can do that, nobody's going to hit the inside spins on him. Nobody's going to hit the speed rush on him. It's just not going to happen. His feet are too good. The only question I had was, can he sit on the bowl? And that was answered probably 3 or 4 times, because I was out there watching one-on-ones. I was out there watching team period. And as you guys know, I watch the fat cattle all the time. It's the fat cattle, and then everything else is second. So Paki Finau, number 3.
Okay.
Hands, just before, I just want to make people understand. You're saying he's undersized because he's only 6'5" and 310.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And Isaiah Jada was 6'7", 320.
Just to put in perspective where we are in college football, because BYU's been throwing 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", 315 to 320 out there at left tackle in the last 5 years. And so Pocky's just 6'5", 310. So he's a little undersized, so he's got to bring some special stuff. I love that. So.
Yeah. It's funny watching him stand next to Andrew Gentry, who's 6'8",
exactly
335. It's like, you're little.
He's a little dude. He's just a little dude.
Okay, number 4.
Number 4, Kyler Casper, wide receiver out of Oregon. I've got Kyler Casper ranked as the number 4 transfer portal player, and I've got Kyler Casper ranked as the number 1 in receiving production for BYU this year. So I've got, it goes Kyler Casper, number 1, JoJo Phillips, number 2. I expect Tay Nakua and Reggie Frisch Connect to be number 3, number 4, and then Legend Glasker, I think, is going to pick up production, because everybody's wondering about wide receivers.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so just to kind of throw that out for you, I expect Kyler Casper to lead in production.
Okay.
I think he's got a lot of Chase Roberts-like qualities. So, and I like him. And I felt like he was a really good tight. And by the way, I'd go Tiger Bachmeier after, probably alongside or after Legend Glasker.
Gotcha.
He had good production in camp. And I think that he's not quite a Jaravicious. You guys remember Jaravicious, the receiver for Tampa Bay?
Yes.
Jared Vicious. When I watch him attack corners, that's the kind of the attack. It's great long arm, good strong arm hand battles. I like him.
Okay.
So number 4. Number 5 is Javen Williams, the defensive back out of Mississippi State. Those are my top 5 transfer portal players. So, when we're looking at the hope and expectations of this BYU team, this is the way I put it. If Cade Uluave can pick up 80% of what Jack Kelley is leaving on the table, and Roger Saliapaga can pick up 80% of what Carson Ryan left on the table, then this is going to be a much better all-around team. I just think it's got more depth. It's got more experience. It's got more unified coaching, very, very few coaching. I know Jay leaves, but believe me when I tell you it's not as big of a piece of BYU leaving when Jay leaves. And I can get into that with you guys if you want, but, and you know it as well as I know it. But if those two can give you 80%, this team is 20% better. And I can't help but set the expectations so high because these guys are
you're worrying me, but like people have been asking me, and I've been saying, from a talent perspective, like I don't think there's a weak position group this year. Like every year I go and going, well, I'm really worried about this group or that group. I'm not worried about a single group talent-wise this year, Hans, and that scares me a little bit. And I'm not worried about one, right?
I know.
So, because I'm just thinking they should be better than they were last year. Because they're at least as good or better in every position group.
Yep.
So they, but you know how we were talking about this, but before you came on, you have to stay healthy. Yeah. Yep. You have to play as a group and be in it together, play complementary football, and you have to have a few bounces once in a while to have a special season. Like sometimes you just have to have a little luck during a season to have a special season. And so like talent wise, like they are so good that it scares me.
Yeah, and you talk about the luck that needs to fall your way. But one of those pieces of luck is somebody really trying to test their luck by gambling, and like that's a big break for Texas Tech. When we're talking about, hey, BYU needs a couple of breaks. And by the way, I don't think he was the end-all be-all of quarterbacks.
Right.
And I don't even know, man, maybe this backup quarterback is even a better option because I watched him really dominate against Utah in that one start that he jumped on the field. It was like, geez, he was a menace.
Great kid, member of our faith, like really good kid, the Hammond kid, right?
Right.
Yeah,
so
great kid.
Yep.
And maybe it ends up working better for Texas Tech, but I felt like that whole distraction, it put the magnifying glass on Texas Tech and who they're paying and what their roster is, and everybody was paying attention to the gambling scandal and not on the field. And I just think it's a big break for BYU. Those kinds of things are important. I had somebody say, yeah, Hans, do you like that BYU is the favorite and the target and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And I said, that none of that matters because this isn't a schedule that you don't have a big dog. You're going to hit Notre Dame. So whether you preseason rank them 10 or preseason rank them outside of the top 25, it doesn't matter. Notre Dame's going to be in LaVell Edwards Stadium. They're going to be a top 5 ranked team. They are going to test you, and they're going to either prove you to be a contender or prove you to be a fraud. And so I would prefer having a high preseason ranking because it will help you get over a potential loss there more.
Yeah. Or
it will put you in the top 4 potentially if you get that win against Notre Dame. Let's say, your preseason ranked in the top 10 and you get that win against Notre Dame. Now you're looking at a top 4. So I love the target and I love the top ranking. And I love the fact that you got a big dog on the schedule this year because of your your point, Blaine. Like, this is a very talented, very deadly team.
BYU
I want it to be tested.
BYU football radio analyst Hans Olsen on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus and Mountain America Credit Union. A few more questions for you, Hans. We love having you on the show. LJ Martin's coming off shoulder surgery, set out spring ball. How does BYU bring him along in camp now that he's good to go? And how big of a role does he take right out of the gate in this offense?
A lot, and I think he'll be fine. And I think that you probably use him sparingly against Utah Tech and sparingly against Colorado State. I say that, but he's 1,360 yards away from the all-time BYU rushing record.
Yeah.
And those are games where he could go get 200 yards, right?
That's exactly it, Blaine. So what does he want? And I know what Kalani wants. Kalani's going to tell him, we want you healthy for our Big 12 season. We want you healthy for a college football playoff. We want you healthy in game 13, game 14, and game 15. We want you healthy, 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 healthy. Well, LJ Martin is built like a Mack truck. And I know he hasn't been without injury. I know that. There's part of me that's like, hey, let's take the bridle off him, unsaddle him, hand him the ball, let him go get 250 against Utah Tech. Or let him go get 200. Let him go get 180 against Colorado State. And let him get that motor running early. And I don't know how you feel about that, Blaine. I don't know how you feel about that, Dave. But to me, you got a guy that's on the edge of breaking BYU history.
Yeah.
And I want it for him. Now, hold on. The counter argument is, if I can go to LJ and say, LJ, let's not use you so much for games 1 and games 3. Let's make sure we get a game 14 and game 15.
Yeah.
Because if we get a game 14 and a game 15, now we add a couple of, extended games, and we get you a couple of games in the college football playoff. You're going to break the record, and we are going to break viewership records and attendance records and everything else. We got records galore as long as we don't get you hurt early. So, yeah. But there's a part of me that I just want to rev that engine and let him get going.
Yeah. And think about this too, Hans, that goes with what you were just saying. It's like, and we want to get you to the next level because that's a goal that you have, and we want you to have that goal. And the NFL scouts are more interested in who you're playing in week 14 and 15 than they are in week 1 and 3. Yeah. They want to see how you run in the college football playoff against Michigan at your place, because that's the one we're all, And so there's something to be said for this. I do think he needs to play in those games, but maybe you say, you know what, let's just give him a bunch of carries in the first half and let him get 160 or something and get him out of there.
Jamal had the luxury of some Toledos that came in where he ran for a couple of miles. There's not any Toledos on this schedule once you get into
not other
Big 12
than,
play.
not other than like and Hans, I keep telling people, I'm like, I hate that we play Arizona in week 2. I want them in like week 4. Because that's a really good football team coming in with a really good quarterback that's dangerous. I'd like to have 3 nice little warm-up games to start out, and then you throw Arizona right there in week 2. Now, I think this team's veteran enough that they should be fine, but I don't like that they gave us a league game in week 2 against a team that's good,
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I know exactly what you... Well, you guys know me. I'm a huge Brennan fan.
Yeah.
He scares me with Fafita. That is a dangerous combo. How many yards did he have last year against BYU?
They did a pretty good job against them.
Both seasons.
But...
and a couple picks last year.
They got better on both sides of the ball down the stretch last season. That's what scares me. And here's my take. Here's my take on Brennan, because I love him too. I think he's great. I think that if Lincoln Riley doesn't pick it up at USC, he gets fired, and Brennan gets the USC job next year.
Possible. Possible. But yeah, I'm with you. Noah Fafita, he's a dog. And he wasn't over 300 yards through the air against BYU last year.
He might have been. I just know that we just didn't make it. What BYU did a good job of against him both seasons is this is a team that they get big plays over the top, and BYU did a really good job. If they got a big play of containing it to like 25 yards and making a tackle and then making him earn it. So I think they have to have that philosophy again this year, because Fafita loves to like scramble around and buy extra time, and then his arm is ridiculous. So he just finds somebody way behind you and throw it 65 yards down the field, and they get an 80-yard touchdown, and then it's a backbreaker.
He had 219 yards on 25 of 45.
Yeah, that was last year, right?
Last year in Tucson.
And then what did he do the year before when they had McMillan? Like BYU did as good a job as anyone in the country at defending that guy.
He had that bomb against McMillan. He had the bomb to McMillan. But they controlled him in the second half.
The best I've seen Arizona play is like the backstretch of last year, and I'm like, ugh, I don't like them in week 2. I want them in week 4 or 5.
So
I'm glad they're at LaVell Edwards Stadium.
Yes, for sure. That makes a huge difference.
Hans, we opened the show and we were talking about you being our guest tonight, and we came up with a question that we were going to ask you that we'd been kicking around a little bit. So you played on the defensive line at BYU and on the offensive line for the Indianapolis Colts. Which one is harder, and what's the biggest difference as we think about BYU's offensive line and defensive line, which you just talked about a moment ago? So you played both. What's the difference?
Well, the biggest difference is defensive line is reactionary, offensive line is strategy. So reactionary to strategy. Defensive line, I'm watching for your footsteps. I'm watching for, first recognition. I'm watching for key reads. I'm watching for lineups, and I'm reacting to everything you're doing. Offensive line is all strategy. So as I'm coming to the line, I'm trying to make you think that I'm doing one thing, that the offense is setting up for one thing, so that I can get you to react to the wrong thing. The harder position to play is offensive line, especially in Peyton Manning's offense. I don't know if there's probably some more difficult offenses to play in, but Peyton was really demanding of his offensive line, and the plays and audibles come at you so fast, you just have to be really quick. So it's a big thinking game. I did play 1 year of defensive line in the NFL, my rookie year, and I played in Vic Fangio's defense. And I think, is Vic still defensive coordinator with the Eagles? I think he's with the Eagles. He won a Super Bowl with them, I think. But his defense is very intricate, very, very difficult. If I had to pick NFL defensive line to NFL offensive line, I would go NFL defense. The NFL defensive line is a really tough thing to play. Those offensive linemen are smart. Offenses are smart. They give you so many false keys, off of any shade, any tilt, any stem. They've got early recognition and quick audible and check twos that people really they can't really unveil in even watching a game. But every time you see a running back move up and top an offensive guard, or every time you see an H-back do a double check motion where they go past the center and then they head back to the center and they kind of swipe across the back part of the hip of a guard or a tackle. Every one of those little tiny things has a ton of detail in it, and you got to know it all. So that's a tough question. But if overall, I would go NFL defensive tackle was the toughest thing I've played.
Interesting.
It's interesting. I told Dave, and you tell me, you know better. You play both sides of the ball. I just said to Dave, when I think about offense versus defense, I said defensive linemen by and large are just a little bit crazier. They can play a little looser. Once they get their initial key, they can seek and destroy. I said offensive linemen they seem like they've got to be a little more cerebral and play inside themselves. They can't get too hyped up because they got checks and they've got to, they're going to check at the line of scrimmage, and they may go from a run to a pass, and they've got to make the calls on the line. I said, it just seems like it's a more cerebral game over on the other side. They need to be big physical guys and want to dominate people physically on both sides. But to me, you can just play a little looser and be a little crazier as a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
And you have to be a little more composed, a little more thoughtful as an offensive lineman. Is that, am I representing that right? Or is that off?
Oh, no, I think you're absolutely right. Just a couple of things to keep in mind. At no point as a defensive lineman do I get to have two defensive linemen pushing on one offensive lineman. And as an offensive lineman, when you get help, whether it's a chip off a fullback or a double team for guard center, or you get a lot of help. And as a defensive lineman, a lot of times I'm taking 2-on-1, and that's tough. You got to fight and scrap like a dog. And that also takes a lot of effort and energy. So it's, you're huffing and puffing. So, I think of it that way, that defensive linemen, constantly have two, even sometimes three dudes that are touching them and pushing them and hitting them. But you're 100% right. You got to be more cerebral, and you got to be able to think through the game. I just think overall, reactionary football, being reactionary as a defensive lineman is thing. And then the other thing is, Blaine, as a defensive lineman, I can make a mistake and I can make a play. As an offensive lineman, if I make a mistake, then it will end with somebody getting hit in the backfield, or it will end with something very, very bad. Defensively, you think, man, one guy makes a play, 10 others can suck. Offensively, if I miss, man, it's you break the whole thing. So that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, Peyton Manning's going to give you the look. You do not want the look.
More than the look.
Yeah.
Here's the grand finale of our visit with Hans. 5 questions presented by Strategy Square. Let Chantel help your business grow through social media. Learn how by contacting her at strategysquare.com. Tonight, Hans will give us his 5 favorite impact players on the football team. Now, a moment ago, he rolled out his top 5 transfer
players. Yes,
there's 100+ kids on this roster. We're going to go after his 5 favorites. Now, we didn't tell him, so we know that's going to be sincere and reactionary as he rolls out the list here. You ready, Hans?
We're going to start with offensive linemen. So your favorite impact player on this offensive line.
Bruce Mitchell.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that one. I agree 100% with that.
Let's go to the other line.
Yeah, how about the other side? Defensive lineman. Biggest impact.
Give me Nusi Taumapeu.
I think Nusi flies under the radar, and he is going to be a menace coming off the edge this year, right?
I think he leads the team in sacks this year.
Yep, there you go.
All right.
Watch for him. Watch for Nusi this year, everybody. Linebacker. Now you told your top transfer is, and you had to replace Jack. Is he also your biggest impact linebacker, or is it somebody else?
It's going to be Glasker.
Yeah.
Okay, Isaiah Glasker.
He's healthy. He's healthy, and I think that he's going to be your guy.
Does BYU have 2 draft pick linebackers this year?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. That's something, right?
Here's the hardest question of this group. Your favorite defensive back, and that's safety.
Safeties and corners. We're combining them.
Safeties
and
corners.
Satawala.
Yeah, Fali Tau.
I thought maybe Evan Johnson would get you to hesitate a little bit.
No, not even a hesitation.
Right.
Fali Satawala. And by the way, I know he broke a foot or something.
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of heartbroken, feeling down. I ain't worried about it 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah, Fali Tau he's a freakish. I know when he came, Gavin and Jay were thinking he's so long, he's going to put some weight on. Is he fast enough, or is he an NFL starting outside linebacker? And like 3 weeks of practice, you're like, no, this guy's an NFL safety.
Yeah,
like that's how quickly they went. Nope, he doesn't need to move down and put on weight. He's an NFL safety. That's how good he is. So
you put the over-under on 3 interceptions with Fautag. I'll take the over. You put the over-under on Fautag TFLs at, I don't know, 18. I'd take the over. I think he's going to be high usage. I think he's going to be in many blitzing schemes. I think that they're going to use smoke, and they're going to use ghosts, and they're going to use Fauteuil in such a way that he just is going to dominate that field.
Interesting that you got Raider Damuni, who was on the show last week. You got Evan Johnson. You got Trey Alexander around Satuala back there in the secondary.
That's good.
It's a lot of good dudes back there. It's a great secondary.
It's such a good secondary, and
there's some depth there.
And the other thing is that people don't understand. DeMario Warren he's a mind. He is a mind. He is, obviously he's a journeyman and he's been around, but when you put him in a defensive backfield, he's going to have 1,000 ways to break your back.
Okay, what about your favorite receiver? We saved the best for last, because people have indicated to us, well, we're a little concerned about the receiver room. You started out this by saying, I'm not concerned about the receivers. And you talked to us about, transfer a tight end that you think, because we can include that in the group. Guys are going to go out and catch the ball. So tight ends and wide receivers combined, who's the one that is the star and the biggest impact this year?
Roger's going to be the biggest impact. Salipaga will be the biggest impact, because Aaron Roderick's offense utilizes that H-back set so much. He might not lead in receiving yards, and he might not lead in receptions, but if you guys remember, every time Parker Kingston broke to the outside, every time LJ Martin broke to the outside, every time there was a flip pass or touch pass to the outside to Hagan or to Chase, Carson was always on the lead block. Mm-hmm. And that's Roger. He's just got to be that guy. So he'll be the primary piece to the offense. I'm not going to say receiving piece. When you're talking about receivers, I'm hoping JoJo Phillips takes that next step. Now, I told you, I think Kyler Casper is going to lead in receiving yards, but Reggie Frischknecht's a big body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But see, people are so worried about this. And Blaine, you can answer this better than I can. If I put a world-class offensive line in front of a really good quarterback with a running back that can dominate and destroy, don't you just say to your receivers, just don't lose it for us? Just don't screw things up. Just run your route and catch the stupid football.
I'm telling you, if they can establish the run, which they should, play action game should be just like picking cherries. Like, it should be just so easy to complete balls. It's the type of offense where Bear could be, high 60s in completion percentage in this type of offense that they could run with this group.
Yes.
And tight ends, you got, we haven't even mentioned Lions with Salipaga and Lions together. You go some 2 tight end sets, you run play action. There's going to be a mismatch somewhere on the field. Frischknecht's a 6'5" or 6'6" guy. Casper's a 6'5" guy. Like, you're going to create mismatches, because if you're running the ball, teams are going to have to line up and try to play some man and bring more people into the box, and you have mismatches all over the field. That is easy pickings to have high percentage throws. So I agree. Tight end's a really important part of that. And they don't only have Salipaga, they got Lions that can also do some damage out there. So this could be a really fun season for tight ends for BYU.
There you have it.
I'm just not as worried. And maybe I should be more worried, but I always look at receivers like, just do your job.
You play with some really good ones, though, that just quietly made spectacular catches.
You know who the best BYU receiver I think I played with?
Who was it?
I think it's Kaipo McGuire.
Yeah, he's good.
And Kaipo, he quietly got it done. But think about all the big plays he made, right? He was good.
Oh, bro. And I played with Ben Cahoon and Kale Kialalui. And I played with Margin Hooks, and, I played with some really good receivers. Kaipo was a different kind of good. He was a special dude.
Earlier on the stream, Hans, we had a shout out from the Navajo Nation of a Cougar fan taken in the show, and then a couple other questions on how your boys doing. Give us an update on Elder Olsen.
Elder Olsen's killing it. And last check, I think it was 48 baptisms.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was all Navajo. And Elder Olsen has been on the reservation for a year and 1 month.
Wow.
And they just took him off the reservation for the first time in a year and 1 month. And they put him in the city of Farmington.
Okay.
And he just called today. Today's his P day. And he said, I am not a city guy, and I miss my Navajo neighbors. He loves the Navajo people. He loved proselyting inside of their hogans, their mud huts. He loved help rebuilding homes and building fence. And, he never wore a suit. He never wore a white shirt. He would go out there with his ranching boots, and he would herd and rope and round. He would dig post holes. He would chop wood, and he loved that. So he's just got to adapt to the city. But 48, and the last I checked, it was 48 baptisms.
Listen, he's got 11 months
so
left.
much.
He'll make the rounds in that mission with a few more transfers, and that's awesome. Hey, we wish you a pre-happy birthday for Friday. Happy birthday.
Hope you
I'm creeping up on 40, turning 39, man.
What? Oh, you're doing what I'm doing.
He's going in reverse.
Once I hit a certain age, I just started to go backwards. So you're doing what I'm doing. Smart. Smart.
We're trying, aren't we, Blaine? We're trying.
Hey, we love you. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you at practice here in a week or two. It'll be awesome.
Love you both, man. You guys do an amazing show. You bring a lot of smiles to a lot of people, and cannot wait to be out there with you boys, and can't wait to call these games. I'm blessed to be a part of Cougar Nation. I hope that BYU fans know how much I love them and how much I love representing them on air.
Love it. Love you too, Hans. So we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you next week, hopefully.
See you, boys.
Thanks, brother.
Hans Olsen, you'll hear him on the radio with Greg Wrubell calling the Cougars all season long, and he's on this show quite a bit, which we love. Love his insights and the way he says stuff, and he's played it. He's now broadcasting it and gives you a full flavor, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I love one of the unique things about Hans is where he's played on both sides of the ball on the offensive and defensive line at the highest level. He really understands the game from both sides of that perspective, which is great. So
let's do our Relight Athlete of the what it can do for you at Redmond.com. In the wake of last week's developments, it is our pleasure to announce AJ Dybantsa as, again, the Relight Athlete of the Week, an honor he has won many times.
It seemed like the weekly AJ or Jane award.
And we thought AJ was done winning this.
He's like, now he's got to go get some NBA awards, but last Thursday, he was named the Big 12 Male Athlete of the Year, BYU's first of that. So each Big 12 school nominated one male and one female athlete in good academic standing, competed in a league-sponsored sport. The winners were selected by a 16-member media panel where each school was represented by one voter.
And this isn't just the basketball guys.
Right, it's every sport.
Every athlete in the Big 12.
Remember, AJ led the nation in scoring. He scored 43 points against the Utes, a very important note.
Which we loved.
He was one of two Big 12 players in history to log a triple-double with 33 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists against Eastern Washington. We called that game. That was nuts.
Yeah. And wasn't it, who was it that got the assist? He dished it out to who was it that hit the three that got him the assist?
I can't even remember.
He was the international player. I'll think of it in a second.
Boskovic, that's right.
And he buried, the place went nuts.
Yeah.
We're like, you can't write this stuff.
Yeah. Consensus first team All-American for BYU this last season. And the number one pick in the NBA draft by the Washington Wizards. He had a phenomenal summer league. He's representing BYU everywhere he goes. So you know what? AJ, once again, is a Redmond Relight Athlete of the Week.
Secrets in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at Redmond.com. Click on the link in the chat and in the show notes for a discount code giving you 15% off of Redmond products. As a side note, TCU guard Olivia Miles was the Big 12 Female Athlete of the Year. She was great, but we think BYU freshman Jane Hedegren, with her 2 national championships, should have received that award.
And rightly, like, we're not like biased on this one.
And sometimes we are, but this is just facts.
Yeah, so there you go. Facts.
So we'll see Jane again next month.
For her running
some more
sophomore performance. So
Quick Quack Car Wash is a proud supporter of the Wise Guys, and this week they are in paradise celebrating the grand opening of their first Hawaiian Islands location on the island of Oahu in Kapolei.
Yes, that's right. In Kapolei, fundraiser around this one is benefiting 2 local families. The Worthington family, they have a daughter who urgently needs a life-saving liver transplant. Once she gets it, the family will have to travel to Seattle for 3 months of hospital care. So awesome that the fundraiser is going to help the Worthington family. And the Conahoe Davis family has a 3-year-old daughter who has a severe form of gastroparesis, has spent most of her young life in the hospital. She will be traveling to Ohio this fall with her mom to receive a gastric pacemaker. Those 2 families are the focus of the fundraiser, and they'll benefit those 2 local families.
Quick Quack is owned and operated by BYU grads, and this is what they do when they open a new location, and we think it's fantastic. For you folks on Oahu, there'll be 12 days of free car washes at the new location starting Wednesday, and we invite you to nominate someone for a Quick Quack fundraiser at quickquack.com/preview fundraiser. And please, as always,
Don't drive dirty.
Don't drive dirty.
Don't do it.
Campus Notes are presented by BYU Pathway Worldwide. BYU Pathway makes truly affordable, fully online, spiritually based college degrees accessible to folks worldwide through greatly reduced tuition, weekly peer gatherings, and English support, helping students earn sooner, increase their income, and deepen their faith. Learn more at byupathway.edu. Raider Damuni was on the show last week, having just got back from Tonga with some of the players and Kalani Sitake, and part of that mission was to further the cause of BYU Pathway Worldwide, opening up an employment center and all of that. And then we wrote an article from that interview, and just on my X page alone, I think it's got 28,000 views. People love what BYU Pathway is doing. They also love the connection of BYU athletes engaged in that.
Yeah, and BYU Pathway is helping people all around the world, but it's also, as we're learning, as they've been a great partner of ours, that it's helping people right here in the communities in Utah as well. So no matter where you are, BYU Pathway is there, and it's making a difference in people's lives. So let's talk about some of the things that are going on as BYU Pathway sponsors this segment for us. Men's basketball. Start with that Rob Wright III, preseason first-team All-American.
How about that?
Yeah, CBS's Isaac Trotter says first-team All-American. He averaged 18.1 points and 4.6 assists last season.
That's huge. We've talked about him having a big year coming up, but and the rankings and all that stuff will come out. But here's a guy that's saying, "Oh yeah, put Rob Wright on my preseason first team All-American." It's like, okay, well, AJ was that.
Yeah.
And Yegor probably could have been close to being that, but the hits just keep coming.
Yeah, between he and Brett, we could have 2 first-round draft picks next year for BYU.
Be cool.
It'd be wild.
Big 12 preseason rankings. This is per the field of 68. They got Houston 1, then Arizona, Kansas, Iowa State, Texas Tech's 5, West Virginia is at 6, Baylor's at 7, BYU all the way at 8. Which is going to get you a 6 seed, and that's kind of where they've been forecast.
Yeah, Utah and UCF are tied for 15th.
That's down there
at the bottom of the league, and it's interesting. I think BYU is underrated at 8, but isn't that interesting? You go, yeah, that gets you like a 4 or 5 seed or 6 seed.
Doesn't sound great. You take 8th in the Big 12, but you get a 6 seed.
You get a 6 seed. So, Big 12 power rankings. Now, this is per John Rothstein, who we're all familiar with. A little different view from John Rothstein. He's got Arizona 1, Houston 2, Iowa State 3, BYU 4. Yeah. TCU is 5, Kansas 6. He believes that Rob Wright III should be the Big 12 preseason player.
That's another one.
So he's thinking, hey, Big 12 preseason player of the year, and BYU in the top 4. Now, if you're the 4th-rate team in the league, now you're talking about a 3 seed probably, or a 4 seed.
Absolutely. Since we were last together, BYU signed a 6'9" power forward / center in Jacob Urbaniak, 23 years old. Fran Fraschilla describes him as the Polish hammer. That sounds good.
Yeah.
And he played in Europe last year. Is he the center? We think they're still looking for a bigger guy, but have you seen the highlights of this kid?
They're looking for 2. And I still think they're going to get 2 because they're talking to a couple more still that are bigger, a big defensive type center. But they're also looking for a stretch type center that could get out and shoot threes, that could run the floor, so be a rim runner and get out in transition, could force the other team's bigs to go out on the perimeter to defend. That's what he brings. So they've got the one kind of center they wanted. And at 6'9", he plays bigger than 6'9". He's physical. That's why he calls him the Polish Hammer. Now they're looking for that 6'11" to 7'2" guy that can be a rim protector and play on the defensive side of the ball.
You know,
I think they're going to get one still.
In that NCAA tournament where Texas' center ate our lunch, and we're going, oh, we got to go get a 7-foot of our own to eat his lunch. You put the Polish Hammer in there, I like our chances. Well, you get AJ 35 and the Polish Hammer to hammer him a little bit.
Well, and the Polish Hammer also goes out to the corner and knocks down a couple of threes and makes that big guy go out and defend. And then they start to think, wait a minute, they're creating mismatches for us. So yeah, this is a good thing.
And it is kind of fun to say Polish Hammer.
Yeah, I like saying that too.
Women's basketball, Delaney Gibb and the Canadian senior national team beat the defending national champion UCLA Bruins 69-55 in an exhibition game last Wednesday in Victoria, British Columbia. Delaney came off the bench, scored 5 points, had the go-ahead 3, a couple of rebounds, a steal, an assist, a turnover, just under 17 minutes of action. What golden experience for Gibb to suit up for her national team and beat UCLA.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Honor roll. Last year, the women's team finished with the 31st highest GPA in the country.
That's pretty good.
So Lee Kamar's squad is smart. They're getting better. Add a couple of pieces for this next year. They made a wonderful run at the end of the year last year and really played well. I think they were one of the most surprising teams on the women's side of basketball in the Big 12 last year.
Charles and Liz saying hello from the Hawaiian Islands tonight on the stream.
We go.
We're just moments away from tonight's BYU Superfan, so we're excited about that. He's in the green room, which is really an orange couch, but that's how we roll here.
And what color is that carpet? I don't even know.
I'm not sure, but it goes with the couch. Jersey patches. Let's talk about that for a moment. Today, BYU announced that BYU Continuing Education is going to have their patch on the jerseys of the Olympic sports.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Yeah.
So early in the month, BYU announced that the first jersey patch for football will be Entrada. So the local software company that does apartment and management, like property management software, global. Adam Edmonds is the BYU grad who's the CEO of Entrada. He will join the Wise Guys on August 24th, ahead of the new season.
So we'll talk about you're on the jersey.
I like that they're on the jersey, and that's a local company, a global company that's based locally.
So you got BYU Continuing Education on soccer and volleyball and all the Olympic sports, and that'll help support that program and get it some, especially for youth and all those guys. I was thinking of some of the folks we've had on the show from that, which is connected in with BYU Continuing Education. The place is massive. So that's today's development. Let's talk soccer.
Yeah, the blue-white game Saturday. We mentioned that earlier, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. It's going to be on ESPN+. Coach Jen Rockwood was scheduled to appear on tonight's show, but needed to move her appearance to next Monday. So we'll have Jen on to preview the season with us next Monday night.
Idaho State's at BYU in an exhibition game on August 8th. That's at 7 on ESPN+. And BYU and UVU from just up the road agree to a 4-game series beginning next season. So they'll play soccer here, there. Mm-hmm. The Cougars are 10-1 against the Wolverines, so apparently we'll play them anytime.
There you go. Women's volleyball, Cougars report to practice on Wednesday. The blue-white scrimmage is Saturday, August 15th at 1 p.m. in the Smith Fieldhouse. Season tickets go on sale Wednesday to Cougar Club members and Thursday for the general public at BYUtickets.com. New head coach Rob Nielsen joins the Wise Guys next week.
We're going to have a big show next week. Track and field news from the USATF Outdoor Championships over the weekend in New York. They had current and former Cougars involved in that. Lexi Holiday Lowry wins the 3,000-meter steeplechase for the second straight year.
Of course she did.
For the second straight year. National champion back-to-back. Megan Hunter finished on the platform, third place in the 800 meters. There were a lot of Cougars who did a lot of great things, but how about Lexi on top of the world?
Unbelievable. How about baseball? Latter-day Saint star Jeff Kent was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame over the weekend. He was a star with San Francisco's family ties to BYU or through his kids and the church. Wise Guys congratulates him on his enshrinement.
How about that?
Into the Hall of Fame. That's pretty awesome.
Famer.
Yeah. Cougars honored by the American Baseball Coaches Association with team. They Academic Excellence Awards for their cumulative GPA of 3.52.
That's pretty good.
How about that?
That's great. That's great women's basketball. That's great baseball. These are student athletes.
That's right.
And they're good students, and we salute them. Softball news today, BYU announcing the hire of former star Haley Morrow as the Director of Player Development. She's young, but the team and the program love her.
Yeah,
for how
she relates so well.
How she performed the moment she stepped on campus and all the variety of positions she had to play for softball, banged through some injuries, but we'll see her in a different role this spring. But I'm glad that she's staying connected with Gordon Eakin's program over there.
Yeah. How about the 3M Open in Minnesota? 2 top 16 finishes. It's in Blaine, Minnesota, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that where it's at?
That's where it's at.
Of course.
Are you familiar with that place?
No,
I know Blaine.
I know Blaine, Washington is the last town you go through before you cross from Washington into Canada. You got to stop in my town there. Evidently, there's another town named after me.
Tell them Blaine sent you.
Exactly. So, 2 top 16 finishes. BYU ties. Zach Blair tied for 13th at -16. He takes home a cool $172,333.
Nice weekend.
Patrick Fishburne tied for 16th at -15, $138,600.
Great for those two. They're playing good golf.
Yeah, good stuff.
Party schools, bar stools, Big 12 rankings for party schools.
Yeah, what do you think BYU is? Yeah.
We thought we'd fit this one in. Arizona State's number 1. I don't know if that's a big surprise. West Virginia's number 2. Arizona comes in at 3. And all the way down there at 16 is BYU.
And I know that BYU is just as excited to be 16 as Arizona State is to be number 1.
You gotta work hard to earn both those rankings.
School is very excited at the respective rankings.
And by the way, the Utes who think they're so much different from BYU, they were ranked 15th.
Yeah, they're 15th.
So they were 15th, BYU 16th, and you know when the new Stone Cold Sober rankings come out, BYU will again
number 1 in the country. They lead the country in national championships in Stone Cold Sober rankings. So
campus notes are presented by BYU Pathway Worldwide. Learn how to increase your education in a way that can benefit your life at byupathway.edu. And Wise Guys would love to connect you to Cougar Tribe. You can sign up for free at cougartribe.com and interact with a wide community of BYU fans all week long, including special Q&A sessions with us, the Wise Guys. So sign up today for free at cougartribe.com. It is time to welcome the Hotel Park City Ruth's Chris Superfan. When you're in Park City, treat yourself to something extraordinary. Escape to Hotel Park City, the area's #1 rated boutique hotel, where personalized service, mountain elegance, and peaceful surroundings create an unforgettable experience. We've all been there. We love it.
Yes.
Then savor the legendary tradition of Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, serving sizzling steaks on 500-degree plates for more than 60 years. I burned my finger on some of those plates, but it was still fantastic.
But they told you. I was
just
with
hot
you
butter. Yeah, you just do it.
They said, the plate is hot, don't touch it. And you and I both immediately went, well, you know what? They're right. It is hot. Why do we keep doing that? So
it's the #1 steakhouse destination for BYU superfans who appreciate the very best. Hotel Park City and Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, where unforgettable memories begin. Reserve your stay and your table today. Our superfan tonight is Kelley. Welcome to our lair. What do you think of the place?
It's awesome.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody where it is. It's a big secret. So.
You hear about the secret lair here.
It's not that secret.
I was expecting it to be like in the tunnels under the Marriott Center or something.
We tried to get those, but they're too hot in the summer.
They're too hot in the summer.
So,
what makes you a BYU superfan? We love asking that question.
Well, I go back clear to the day I was born. I was born December 19th, 1980, day of the Miracle Bowl, Jim McMahon, Hail Mary. So because I was born that day, I like to say I've been a Cougar fan since birth.
Well, we have a follow-up question to that story.
Yeah, that's like, so did your dad have the game on in the hospital room where you were born?
So my mom did.
Your mom did?
Yeah. My mom's actually a bigger sports fan than my dad.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, my dad he became more of a sports fan when my brother and I got into sports, just to be a good supportive dad, but it come more naturally to my mom. But yeah, she tells the story of she was watching the game and the comeback starts and she starts screaming and nurses coming in thinking there's something wrong. But no.
So she's there with you when Jim McMahon throws that pass to Clay Brown.
Yep.
And then the nurses come in to go, "What's up with the commotion? Are you feeling okay?"
Yeah.
And her heart rate must have been way off the charts.
Wow.
Well, that's a grand entrance.
Yeah.
That sounds appropriate for a BYU superfan.
Oh, absolutely. If you're born the day of the Miracle Bowl, of course.
So of all the places you've traveled to cheer for the Cougars, what's your favorite?
Well, I saw him in Notre Dame. So that was
it on the freezing cold day?
Was that snowing sideways day that Dave and I had to be on the sidelines and almost died?
no.
Not that day.
It was in 2005. So it was November. It was chilly, but it wasn't like wintry.
Did we win?
We lost.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, that was a great experience just to go see Notre Dame, but I don't.
Yeah, it is quite a place to watch the game. Now they got to come to our place this year.
Yeah.
So that's good. Will you be at that one?
A little too pricey for me.
Yeah.
It's a little pricey. So outside of Notre Dame Stadium, what are some of your other favorites?
Well, a pretty fun story was with during Jimmermania. The BYU was in the March Madness. They're playing in Denver. They win their first game, and then I just had some friends talking to them like, we should go. Denver's only 8 hours away. Let's hop in the car and go. And I was working a graveyard shift at the time, so I'm used to staying up all night. And so I get off work 6 a.m. Saturday morning.
On game day.
On game day.
Okay.
My friends come and pick me up. We hit the road, and I just sleep in the car all the way there and watch the game before too. And, awesome game, beat Gonzaga, go to the Sweet 16. And then we just got back in the car. My friends slept in the car. I'm used to staying up, so I just drove all night.
You slept out, they slept back.
Yep, made the whole trip without getting a hotel room.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah,
right.
So that was a pretty fun memory.
How was that? How fun was that to watch Jimmer take down the Zags?
That was awesome. Yeah, that was crazy.
Good fun stuff.
At All Beggars is watching on the stream from Dubai. Love the show.
Oh, wow.
Good to have you with us on the stream from all over the world tonight. They're all here to meet you, our BYU Superfan.
That's right. Kevin Kelley.
Yep.
He's the Hotel Park City Ruth Chris Superfan on the Wise Guys tonight, live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com, all over the world, which is pretty cool. So we're going to play this popular game, Where Were You?
Okay.
Is what we call it. So we roll out a particular moment in BYU sports, and you tell us where you were when it happened.
Okay, ready? So clear your mind.
About the Holiday Bowl. So
we know where you were. You were in the hospital, brand new. We had our oldest child was born on the day of a game.
Yeah.
At the game. Not at the game, but we were on the road playing Missouri in the Holiday Bowl in 1983. Steve Young was our senior quarterback. I was redshirting that year, and my wife flew down with the team. She went into labor early. We went out and had the baby the morning of the game. I went back to the game, borrowed a teammate's car, picked them back up at the airport, and met the team at the North Island Naval Air Station for the charter. She was less than a day old, and we flew home after we beat Missouri on Eddie Stinnett's throwback to Steve Young touchdown pass. So we also have a baby born on a bowl game.
That's awesome.
All right, Kevin, where were you when Brandon Doman led the Cougars on a game-winning drive to beat the Utes in Salt Lake City in 2000 on Lavelle's final night as BYU's head coach?
I was on my mission in Michigan. That time I would have been in East Lansing, I think.
East Lansing, home of the Spartans, right?
Yeah.
So did you find out about the game at church the next day?
Yeah.
Or how'd that work out?
Yeah. Just people there talking about it. Yeah.
Of course they were. All right.
Well,
on
if,
your
you,
mission.
if you were on your mission 2000, you were clearly not for this game. When Max Hall hit Austin Collie on 4th and 18 against the Utes in 2007. Where were you for that one?
I don't know if I can. I think I was just watching that one at home with my parents. Yeah.
In Provo?
Oh, in Roy. Grew up
in Roy?
In Roy.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Jim McMahon's from Roy.
Jim McMahon, yeah.
And he threw the pass the day you were born.
The day you were
You see
born,
how
and
this
you're from
works?
Roy?
Yeah, right.
And you are a super
It's
fan.
too small of a world. It's just like the circle is just too small.
Okay, where were you when Riley Nelson hit Marcus Matthews in the final seconds to beat Utah State in 2011 and take over the starting job?
Yeah, that's the one where like the ball was tipped. In
Yeah.
the end. Yeah, I was right behind that end zone.
You were in that
right
end
there.
I was
zone?
there, yeah. I mean, a ways up, but I was right behind.
So what was more impressive, that play or his bomb to, I think it was McKay Jacobson or McKay, he threw a bomb just after a mad scramble 2 plays before that touchdown pass.
Yeah, I remember that was.
I mean, Utah State was kicking us around that night.
Yeah, the pass was a bit underthrown, if I remember right. And
Yeah.
Jacobson made the adjustment and got under it. Yeah, that was awesome.
Okay, you were right there.
And you were right there in the stadium with that one. Okay, how about when Puka Nacua caught the game-winning touchdown at Boise State in 2022? I still don't know how he even caught that ball.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was, let's see, that one. Yeah, just watching it at home, I think, with, probably myself.
So now here's a question. If you're by yourself and you're watching the game and a player like Puka makes that kind of a crazy play, do you still audibly scream out loud?
Oh, yeah.
So you do. You jump up and down, you scream, you say yes. Your wife is over there and she's nodding her head. Oh, yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, try not to wake up the kids, but sometimes.
Is your wife on board with this whole Cougar fandom?
Yeah, sports isn't really her thing, but she's a great supportive wife.
And
so.
what's her name?
Jen.
Jen, nice to have you with us over there in the green room on the orange couch. Let's do 5 questions for Kevin, our super fan tonight. They're presented by Strategy Square. These are rapid fire.
Okay.
And this is going to reveal a lot about you.
Yeah.
You ready?
Right.
First thing that pops to your head, your favorite sports movie.
First one pops into my head, go Rudy.
Rudy, see, we were just saying earlier that we think, remember the Titans is 1 in 5 years of the show.
That's a great one too.
And Rudy's 2.
Yeah.
Rudy's 2. And Hoosiers comes in there, right? Like probably
Yeah,
in 3.
that's
So.
all.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite BYU quarterback of all time?
So Steve Young is my all-time favorite football player,
Okay.
but I'm a little too young to remember him playing at BYU. He's my favorite. I mean, I'm a 49ers fan because of him,
Right.
but like, I don't know if I can really say him because I don't remember him playing at BYU.
Well, then who would be
Ty
next?
Detmer.
Ty?
All right.
That's a good choice.
Ty was just on the show last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll tell him when we see him that he
Yep,
was a consolation
There you
prize.
go. So, he really likes Steve Young better than you, and Ty will say, yeah, I like Steve Young better than me.
Yeah. He was,
So where were you when BYU beat Miami?
let's see, I would have been like 9 years old.
Yeah.
So probably just watching it at home with the parents.
Yeah. Number 1. We think another number 1 could come in this fall.
Yeah.
If Notre Dame does what they should do,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty fun.
That would be.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
So
Okay.
who's your favorite BYU receiver of all time?
Ooh. Man, probably Austin Colley.
Ah,
I mean, Puka's right there too, but yeah.
those are 2 good choices, Puka or Austin.
Was Colley the best ever to play at BYU?
He's the best
receiver?
BYU receiver ever. Yep. I think hands down. We did a Sports Nation last month where we did like a fantasy team, and I had the first pick of receivers. I took Austin Colley as the best receiver of all time. So
All right, Kevin, Gary says, I'm from Roy, went to Roy High School 1988 to 1989. Ask him where you were in 1988. Where were you in 88?
well, you were 8 years old.
Yeah. So
89. Where were you in 89?
What school were you going to?
let's see. So 9, I've been.
You're in 4th grade.
So Lakeview Elementary.
Lakeview Elementary. There
He's
you
a
go.
little younger than you, Gary.
Wait, is Lakeview out a little west, almost to like it's out west toward?
It's more east.
Oh, is it east
it's
in Roy?
Yeah, it's right by the. I don't know if you know where the fire station is. but
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Question number 4: your favorite BYU running back of all time?
Ugh, probably go Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams.
His personality and his smile helps. He's
Yeah,
fun
he's-
to-
he-
Are you going
just
to
a
make Luke
fun-
Staley text us here?
Well, Luke Staley is awesome, but like, I was on my mission for a lot of his
Yeah.
great
Listen,
accomplishments.
Algier was awesome. Harvey
Yeah.
Unga was awesome.
Yeah,
That's
they
so
all
many
were.
good ones. And
LJ.
LJ Martin's awesome. so-
LJ might have the rushing record at the end
before
of
it's
the
all
year.
said and done.
Even Harvey Young, or sorry,
Yeah. Harvey Young was good. Curtis
you go.
Brown.
Curtis
Curtis Brown was
Curtis
awesome.
Brown,
like we
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
how about your favorite BYU linebacker ever?
give a similar kind of answer to the Steve Young one. I mean, I love Fred Warner now with the Niners, but at BYU, I'll go Kyle Van Noy.
Yeah, and they're both great pros too,
Yeah,
right? Both great pros. Fred Warner now.
Who's got more Super Bowl
Kyle
rings?
Van Noy.
Kyle?
Yeah,
Kyle's got 2.
Fred doesn't have any yet.
Yeah,
Maybe Fred will
this
get
year.
one.
This year for Fred.
The quarterback has
So-
to stay healthy for them to have a shot at that.
So I'm going to give you one bonus. We're going to do a 6th question.
All right.
Who's your favorite player on BYU's current roster that you're going to be watching this fall?
Right now, probably Bear.
Bear.
Yeah, I got to meet him at the Fan Fest, and my son went to his and Tiger's camp the other week.
Oh, good.
yeah.
So, and he got to interact with them, and they're good guys. So
Very
I like
good.
them.
Yeah, Bear. Well, Bear and Tiger had a concert with their uncle, evidently the guitarist and singers too.
American Fork Amphitheater.
There you
We had
go.
Brad Paisley at Cougar State at LaVelle Edwards Stadium. We had the
The
Bachmeiers
Bachmeiers
over
over
there.
there. Yeah. So
What's the key to the season?
Well, I mean, I heard you guys talking to Hans about
Yeah.
the receivers. I thought if we got a lot of guys with a lot of potential, but mostly unproven. So I think if they can step up and fill the shoes of Chase Roberts and Parker Kingston and Carson Ryan, then we'll be in good shape.
man, when you mention those names, that's a lot of big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Sure
So,
is.
but I think they're up for it. So
Why do you love this so much?
Oh boy, that's tough to put into words. I just love football. Well, all sports, but especially BYU football, and it's just like, just always been a part of my life. And I got fortunate enough to earn a degree from BYU, but my fandom was solidified way before then. And just, I don't know. I think and a lot of times with just memories of watching games with family and friends, and just making core memories. And
we have a running theme on this show as we visit with superfans each week, and what makes, and even with our own history with the place, what makes it great. I mean, they're just sports and they're games, but what makes them memorable most often is who we watch them with. Yeah. Whether our kids, our dad, our friends, or whatever, those are what makes the Cubs are going to play 160, 70 games this year. But what makes the Cubs great is when my brothers and I are watching them. What is it about that link?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, if you have somebody there with you cheering you on and just that camaraderie, and have my son who's 12 now. I mean, I have I have 3 kids, but my 12-year-old son is just a sports maniac, and I've raised him right to be a good Cougar fan.
There you go.
Just watching games with him, and he just gets so into it, and he has give me his Rob Wright jersey to bring here to try and get some BYU people to sign, but just like just making those connections, and it's just, it makes it great.
Well, I can hear in your voice that Jen could step it up a little bit in her family.
Yeah, it seems to me like Jen should be screaming at the TV with you more often.
When she does watch it with me, she does get really into it.
Good.
She watched the Utah game from 2 years ago, Will Ferrell's last game.
Oh, yeah.
And when she'll do the same thing when we watch suspenseful movies, she'll get really into it, and then she'll start hitting me what are you doing? Don't go in that room or make that tackle.
Yeah, there you go.
She's fun to watch with.
Did this Larry give you some ideas for your man cave?
Ooh, yeah. I think a little more BYU stuff and a little less of the other teams.
Well, we got to represent the league.
I know. We struggle with the same struggle. Yeah, for sure.
It's all good.
But no, it's great. Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And now all of Cougar Nation knows you as a BYU super fan, and you've earned it right from the day one.
Yep.
Who gets born with a Hail Mary?
I know. And my favorite quote is when Jim McMahon said, and something he was doing with Lavelle, at BYU, the Hail Mary had to be completed from the Catholic quarterback to the Catholic tight end. And Lavelle goes, Jim, that didn't win the game. That just tied the game. LDS return missionary kicked the extra point to win the game. So
that's what it took.
That's what it
got
took.
you to 46.
Kurt Gunther, a return missionary, won the game.
Jen, thanks for being here, and thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
It's great to have you in our alumni crew.
Yeah, thanks.
We appreciate it.
That's our BYU Superfan. The BYU Superfans are presented by Hotel Park City and Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Their most popular stay package includes a $150 dining credit at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Advanced bookings required. Just call the reservations manager at Hotel Park City, 435-940-5077. Mention the Wise Guys BYU Superfan and get a special offer. And there's a way for you to get on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a BYU super fan, we'd love to bring you on the show. Go to the link, wiseguys.com, and provide your contact information and a paragraph or two about what makes you a BYU super fan, and we'll make it happen. You can see we're making it happen every week. Wise Guys is a show for all of Cougar fandom, all of Cougar Nation, no matter what country you live in, we can make it happen. If you're in Dubai and you want to come on the show, I think it's tomorrow morning, but you're watching in Dubai, and is it All Beggars? At All Beggars, watching from Dubai. Whether you're in Dubai or the Philippines or Japan, or you're right here in Utah, if you're local, you can come on into the studio and hang out with us like Kevin did. If you're someplace else, we bring you on via live stream, just like Hans Olsen did today, came on via live stream. So we'd love you to do it. Go to wiseguys.com and write us a little paragraph or two about why you should be the BYU super fan.
So Eric from Singapore is booked for October 26th.
I love
we'll have
that.
A super fan from Singapore. That's awesome. All right, let's roll out of here as we head down the home stretch on this day, July 27th. We like this part of the show because it helps put things in perspective.
Everything.
A lot of things happen on these days.
Yeah, on July 27th, how about we go back to 1837 when the U.S. Mint opened in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Interesting that in 1844, a fire would destroy that same U.S. Mint.
Yep, in Charlotte.
So a short-lived mint.
Yeah, how about...
like a junior mint.
A world-changing thing happened in 1921. Frederick Banting and Charles Best discover insulin in Toronto.
Yeah, it changed the world.
Yeah.
Changed the world. So did this. 1940,
Big
Bugs
time.
Bunny debuts in the Warner Brothers cartoon A Wild Hare.
That changed the world for sure. It changed my youth watching cartoons.
Yeah.
So in 1947, Yogi Berra starts his record of 148th game errorless streak.
Think about that.
Not only was he a hilarious manager with one-liners, but he was a very good player.
1943, the Korean War ends.
Yeah. In 1984, Pete Rose recorded his record 3,503rd base hit.
How about this in 1988? New York pitcher Tommy John, Tommy John surgery, but he was fantastic as a pitcher. Well, on this day in 1988, he creates a record 3 errors on one play.
Do you have a fielding error, a throwing error, and a catching error?
I don't know how he did it, but he got 3 on one play, but the Yankees still beat the Brewers 16-3. Of course they did. But you got to think, you have some bad luck.
Yeah,
if on the same play with the ball in your hand, you make 3 errors.
They still killed the Brewers.
It was great.
So in 1989, Dale Murphy becomes the 10th player to achieve 6 RBIs in the same inning.
Now that's something.
Yeah, you got to come up to bat twice to do that.
Yeah.
Wow.
2012, on this day, the opening ceremonies of the London Olympics, when James Bond, Daniel Craig, and Queen Elizabeth, they recorded the opening scene where they parachuted out of a helicopter and flew on down there. They made it look real. Yeah. And that's how they roll. That's how they roll over there in England.
Awesome.
That happened on this day.
July 27th, birthdays. Let's start in 1948 with Peggy Fleming, the U.S. Olympic gold medal figure skater.
1963. Let's see.
Jason Buck.
Jason Buck, former BYU defensive lineman. I put Beck there because I misspelled it, but it didn't come up in the spell check.
Yeah.
Jason Buck, former BYU defensive lineman, 1986 Outland Trophy Award winner, born on this day in 1963. I wished him a happy birthday earlier today, but I was looking at it going,
nice.
It's not Jason Beck, it's Jason Buck.
I need to text Jason and tell him happy birthday today, too. In 1975, Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod, baseball player. We know A-Rod is the offensive coordinator of BYU.
He's the other A-Rod. Maybe the first A-Rod.
We call A-Rod here A-Rod, but that's the real A-Rod, right?
That is the real. 1993, Jordan Spieth was born on this day, PGA Tour. Yeah. Golfer.
How about July 27th, deaths in 1890, Vincent van Gogh, the world-famous artist.
And then his artwork became
even more famous
after. Right. 1933, James E. Talmage, apostle of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
In 1993, Reggie Lewis, the Celtics guard. Remember, he passed away from heart failure at age 27.
27. It changed the fate of the Celtics for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big story. In 2003, Bob Hope, beloved comedian, passed away on
great
this
entertainer.
day.
You remember he used to take things out to the military, like Bob Hope. What a great human being. So
our Wise Guy's inspirational quote of the week is from Bob Hope, who said,
"The older you get, the tougher it is to lose weight. Because by then your body and your fat are really good friends." Amen to that.
Well said by the great Bob Hope. Thanks to BYU radio analyst Hans Olsen and BYU superfan Kevin Kelley headlining our show tonight. Next week, listen to this. We got BYU TV football analyst David Nixon. We have Brian Nixon, the co-founder and CEO of Touchpoint and district manager with Aflac. That might tip you off a little bit.
First cousins with David.
And he's going to announce a new partnership with the Wise Guys. New women's volleyball coach Rob Nilsson, soccer coach Jen Rockwood, and another BYU superfan.
It's a huge Monday night. You got
2 hours.
If you don't come join us next Monday night, you're not a BYU fan. So we're just going to say that right now. So football, we're here. It's August. Football guests in August include Dave Nixon, Jeff Hansen, a recruiting guru, Brandon Doman, Harvey Lange, Jaron Hall, and more. We're going to add more to that list.
Jaron Hall's going to join our game day crew.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
And he's going to join us to talk about it as we get closer to kickoff. Here's where you can find us this week. Where are you this week?
Actually, I'm done now.
We're playing golf on Thursday.
Thursday, we're playing in the media tournament for BYU. Yep.
We expect to win it.
Here's the thing. We always say this, and then one of us ends up on Sports Nation before the week is over. So you could see either of us on Sports Nation.
You'll see me Wednesday. I do know that.
Well, maybe I'll join you on Wednesday. We'll see.
Yeah, come on in. I'll be in the Deseret News too this week. Wise Guys is sponsored by Brady Plus, supplies plus support. Find out more at bradyplus.com.
And by Mountain America Credit Union, empowering dreams for over 80 years. Find out what they can do for you at macu.com. Our Relight Athlete of the Week is presented by Redmond, the secrets in the salt. Find out how it can enhance your life at redmond.com. AJ Dybantsa was our Relight Athlete of the Week after being named the Big 12 Athlete of the Year, male Athlete of the Year. The BYU Superfan is brought to you by Hotel Park City and Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Get away today for a cool place to stay and for a great steak.
And we met a guy who was born on the day
Of
Jim
the
McMahon
1980
completed,
Holiday Bowl miracle.
and he was asleep, but his mom was watching in the hospital room.
Yeah.
And then the nurses came rushing in to go, what's going on?
What are you screaming about?
But Jim McMahon just threw a bomb to Clay Brown.
Exactly.
That's how his life began.
I love it. And Wise Guys is distributed by the Deseret News.
Have an awesome week, everybody. We'll see you next time. And when we do see you next time here on the show, we'll be that much closer to kickoff opening night, September 5th against Utah Tech.
Yeah, and the players will be reporting the next morning after our show Monday night.
Looking forward to it. See ya.